Right. Hi, everyone. As folks are coming into our webinar today, I just wanted to make a quick announcement. We're going to get started in just 1 minute. This webinar will be recorded, so please take that into account as you participate with us today. All right, let's get started. Welcome, everyone, to Spotlights on Thriving Services. I'm Julianne Wolf, your host for today. In this monthly series, my co-host and myself, my co-host Gabriella Papp, we shine the spotlight on different service organizations so you can learn what they have to offer. We hope that our set of quirky questions not only serves to inform, but also to entertain a little bit. So what can you expect? We'll start off with an overview of the expertise and the services of each organization. Then we'll dive into our question set that includes leadership, problem solving, collaboration, and other topics. And then we'll just have a quick wrap up at the end. So joining us today is RMK Coaching. RMK Coaching specializes in mentoring and coaching, professional development for both individuals and businesses, as well as management consulting. Whether it's individuals looking to advance their career or make a career change, or an organization requiring a customized program for employee and leadership professional development, RMK Coaching can help. Their management consulting services and specialization in portfolio, program, and project management, including agile project management, helps clients achieve and exceed the desired outcomes of their projects. And joining us today, representing RMK Coaching, is its founder and executive coach, Rami Kaibni. Rami holds more than 50 credentials in the management and business fields, as well as a degree in structural engineering. He has over 17 years of experience in portfolio, program, and project management, construction management, business analysis, and career and professional development coaching. Rami is also a member of many prestigious global organizations, including the Project Management Institute, or PMI, and the International Institute of Business Analysis, or IIBA. He's worked both nationally and internationally on high-profile projects in Asia, the Middle East, as well as North America. And Rami is also a volunteer member of Global Goodwill Ambassadors Foundation and named Global Goodwill Ambassador for Canada. So I'd like to welcome you today, Rami. Thanks so much for being with us. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Awesome. I want to commend you on your over 50 credentials. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment over your career to have that many.
Thank you so much, Julian. Yeah, it took lots of time and effort. But
that was going to be my question. One of my questions, you know, I bet that took a long time. I wanted you to confirm. That's awesome. Well, thanks again. Before we dive into our questions today, why don't you take a few minutes to tell our audience a little bit more about RMK Coaching and its services?
Sure. So, you know, I represent RMK Coaching as the founder and executive coach. And like Julian said, I have more than 17 years of diversified experience. I've worked on many high-profile projects. My original background is in structural design and engineering, but over the years, I acquired lots of experience in portfolio, program management, project management, agile, construction management, business development. And also, you know, through the years, I acquired so many credentials. And so professional development and career coaching became part of my side gig, let's say. And, you know, this all comes by experience. You know, all these 50 certifications that I acquired over the years are from many different organizations, like the PMI, the IIBA, the PMO Global Alliance. Actually, I just got, I was one of the first certified PMO consultants for PMO Global Alliance, and I just recently earned this credential. So, you know, and all these credentials, I just don't do them for the sake of doing the credential. I make sure I have the experience first so I can make sense of what I'm trying to accomplish here. You know, maybe, Julian, you can show the audience an overview of my certification. Yeah, this is just a general overview of most of the credentials that I hold. On another note, also, I am a member of many global organizations. I volunteer in different capacities. For example, with PMI, I volunteer as a mentor with my PMI local chapter. I am also a PMI affiliate. With PM4 NGOs, I am the hub ambassador for the community in Canada and supporting Palestine as well. For PMO Global Alliance, I am the hub ambassador for Canada. For the International Association of Project Managers, which is allocated in Europe, I am also their senior network official for Jordan and Canada.
That's awesome. Thank you for your volunteer work. It's so essential in our professions. And on behalf of the global community, a big thanks on that.
Thank you so much.
So what about RMK Services? Let's help the audience understand a little bit more about what there is to offer there.
Sure. Like I offer four main services. Career mentoring and coaching is one of them. Professional development coaching for individuals and organizations, management consulting, and certification guidance and training. So for career mentoring, over the years, I noticed that so many people are confused about their career path, or for example, some experienced professionals want to do a career change, but they are afraid, they think it won't work, which obviously is not the case. It's never too late. And on the other hand, also throughout the years of experience and dealing with so many individuals and in so many different countries and cultures, I've noticed that some individuals pay lots of money and time on doing professional development just to, at the end, to be disappointed that they didn't benefit from it because it's not the right thing for them to do. So there is no one size that fits all when it comes to professional development. You need to put a plan that suits your career goals and your objectives and your ambitions. So this is where, and the same applies for organizations, of course. Sometimes organizations put a professional development plan for their employees, but they don't benefit from it. They need to do a proper capability assessment to know what gap is there in terms of skills, and based on that to develop plan for their employees. So this is where the idea of career coaching and professional development came from, because there is a need for so many individuals. And this is, apart from it being services, this is me enjoying helping people do better. And on the other hand, management consulting is what I've always been doing for more than 17 years. So it's part of my core expertise. And certification guidance, because I got certified with more than 50 credentials with 10 different organizations. So I am no different, I'm aware of different concepts, different guides, different standards. So, I think my input could add value to so many individuals who are looking for such guidance.
Absolutely. So I'm glad one thing you mentioned, I picked up on that, it's not just for folks who are new in their career, just starting their career journey, but also experienced people may need assistance with coaching and development. I know I myself, being an experienced project management professional, there's been assumptions made that, hey, maybe I don't need this training or I don't need this input. So I really appreciate that you highlighted it's for all folks, no matter where they're at in their journey. There's different ways that we can help and coach people, no matter where they're at. Yeah. For
sure, Julian. One thing I would like to add to your point, Julian, is you need to remember that soft skills are transferable. You can transfer your soft skills in any career path you take. The only part that you need to learn is the technical part. And an average individual could learn this technical part in 6 months. So it's not as scary as people think to change careers, really.
Right. I agree with you. I've done that myself. So I'm living proof that those skills are transferable.
Exactly.
I've changed over industries a couple times in my career. So I also appreciate that. All right, so thank you for that overview. Really great information about RMK Coaching and what it has to offer. Now we kind of understand the foundations and the tenets of RMK Coaching. So we're going to dive into our questions now. So the first question, just to preface it a little bit, as our industry evolves, so do the challenges we face. So Rami, we're interested to know, which superhero or role model would you call on to face the biggest challenge for PMOs today, and why?
Superman.
Okay.
Yeah, Superman. I think Superman has the ability to deal and manage the needs of so many different individuals, which represent in life stakeholders. So this is where, Superman fits into my idea of a role model or superhero.
That's awesome. So, a diverse skill set, many different tools in the tool belt, able to adapt, able to help many different people at the same
Exactly.
time. These are all the reasons that we like Superman. That's great. It's appropriate, the picture on the screen there that we've chosen to represent too.
Yeah, exactly. And one important thing, he is a servant leader.
Yes, agree. That's so important. So important. All right, so we got Superman as our superhero to face all of our biggest PMO challenges today. Let's look at the next question. So when we're looking for someone to partner with, frequently we want to understand, their approaches to problem solving, so we can understand, if that's a good mesh. So tell us, what's your problem solving tagline?
I mean, this is a very important question. And my tagline is always, the root cause of the problem is your first step to a solid and permanent solution.
Awesome. Can you say that again one more time, just so our audience can pick it up?
Yeah, so the root cause of the problem is your first step for a solid and permanent solution. And I can explain why briefly, because so many people, when they have a problem, they try to solve a problem with another problem. But if you look at the root cause of the problem, and solve the root cause, not the surface cause, then you at least will guarantee if your current problem wasn't resolved, it will not be repeated.
Right. Do you find that this is something that you have to coach on frequently to remind people?
I do, because sometimes when it comes to solving problems and decision making, you need to think outside the box. And if you don't, especially on high profile project, you might subject the project to a high risk.
Okay, that's a good point. Good point. So root cause, we want to keep root cause in mind when we're problem solving. And that's really how we get it at a true solution, right? As opposed to creating more problems for ourselves.
Permanent solution.
Yeah, permanent. Thank you. That was a great word. Okay, so next question. We've seen a shift from process-driven methods and project manager as team member to more value-driven frameworks and project manager as leader. So leadership is becoming, much more prevalent and associated to project management and the project manager. So let's say you're making a movie on what it takes to lead. Describe the plot for us.
Okay, I have a specific movie in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, but I hope the audience can pick up my accent when I say the movie. So the movie's name is called The Patriot, for Mel Gibson.
Yep.
Yeah,
yes.
I love this movie for so many different reasons, because the leader there, they lead by example, and they lead from the front, and they are servant leaders, and they think outside the box. These 4 qualities are present in that leader in this movie. Regardless, I'm not a guy who supports wars or violence. I'm just trying to put the script to what I think is a good leader. So, Mel Gibson in this movie, he leads from the front, and that's the most important trait of a leader, to lead from the front. Some people lead from the back. This doesn't work. This is not servant leadership.
Agree. So you've mentioned servant leadership a couple times now. Just to make sure we cover all of our audience members, for those that might not be familiar with the concept, can you just say like a few words about it and what that actually means?
Sure. So there are so many different definitions for servant leadership, and you can argue this and that, but it just simply speaking, it is just you as a leader is there to serve others, not to manage others or to instruct others. You have to get out of this mindset of managing and controlling, and get to the mindset of working with others and see their needs and adapt to their needs, and and you need to be adapting your management style as well through the way.
Yeah, Okay. Yeah. So it's more about supporting others around you, removing barriers, creating opportunities for them to learn and grow and things of that nature, to kind of say it in a different way. Do I have that right?
100%. You nailed
Perfect.
it, Julian.
Okay, great. So that gives our audience, if you're not familiar with servant leadership, a little bit of an idea of what that means. And, it's very important, especially as I mentioned, we move project manager to leader. That's going to be more prevalent, more important moving forward, and as our profession grows. So excellent, excellent. So The Patriot. So we recommend that movie in terms with the leadership eye. So if you haven't seen it, you maybe consider it for the weekend and look at it with the eye of leadership perspective, right? All right, let's move on to our next question. Collaboration, we've talked about, it's essential to success in any partnership. So one of the other things we were interested to learn, if you had to write a book on promoting and sustaining collaboration, what would be the title?
Collaboration is your safe path in every situation. I like rhythm in names. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm picking up on it. So would you care to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So, no matter what the situation is, when you collaborate, first, you end up with probably a better even solution for the situation. It's most of the time when you collaborate properly and sustain your collaboration with others, you will end up with a win-win situation.
Right. So I'm going to throw in a little question here. I guess if you can maybe comment on, sometimes we are so focused on performance, right? We kind of retreat into our little silo, and it's hard to see when that's the focus, how collaboration can really build us up, because, we want to kind of keep our work close to our chest, so to speak. So how do you, what's something that you can do to help combat that in your project team or your home team or whatever?
You as a leader or a project manager need to create a safe psychological environment for your team. So this is your job. So this happens by encouraging people to be transparent, encouraging people to speak their mind, to point out issues. And most importantly, you need to make everybody understand that it's okay to make mistakes.
Right.
Because it is okay.
Yeah, I agree. That's how we learn, right?
Exactly.
Do you find when you can break down the barrier and you can kind of get some small wins in terms of the collaboration space, like if you have a team that's not really familiar with working in that scenario, do you find that it snowballs and it helps to, it's like snowballs, takes on quickly, and that you see more collaboration when you get small wins?
The problem with that, it's just a gray area. I'll explain to you why.
Okay. Sure.
When you start forming a team, it goes through the tagline model.
Yep.
From forming, performing. So the challenge is when the team members change, you will go back to the storming phase, but right. It's okay. So yes, you might have win-win-win, but if the team changes, you have to go back and reinforce the transparency and the teamwork and all this kind of important things, so you can start gaining more and more wins. So it's not a straightforward formula.
Yeah, no. Really good point. Really good point. It changes the whole dynamic, right, of the team collaboration, because you got to build up that trust again, right?
Exactly. So it's a continuous process. It's not just you build this environment and it's a win-win all the time. No. Okay.
No, great point. Thank you. Okay, so a little bit of a different topic, but we wanted to ask, ESG policies or environmental social governance policies are kind of under their own spotlight nowadays. And sustainability is a really big part of that. So we're interested to know, if you were receiving, if one of your customers was receiving an award, how would they thank you for influencing their sustainability?
First of all, this is thank you for this question. This is I am a big supporter of sustainability, a huge supporter.
That's awesome.
So, whenever we design our projects, we usually keep in mind the sustainability and green buildings in the back of our head. So, and this drives most aspects of our design. For example, we make sure always to provide green space for any building that we design. Green space is very important. Community space. For example, we make sure to plan the construction of any building in a safe manner. Let me give you one example.
Absolutely.
For example, we try to minimize the number of trucks that need to come to site, to reduce emissions, to reduce dust. We try to design the HVAC systems in a way that they are more energy efficient, reduce, for example, waste on site. So all these kinds of things, they make a big difference. They are small bits and pieces, but cumulatively, they will make a big difference.
Absolutely. I really appreciate that. I'm a parent and I think a lot about the world my kids are going to live in. So I, on behalf of other parents, I'm sure I really appreciate that you are thinking about that in your work, because it's just going to create a better environment for all the future generations to come. So
of course,
that's awesome. So 2 thumbs up from me on that. All right, let's move on to our next question. We mentioned, again, collaboration is a key factor in contributing to success, but so is culture. So as a service organization, I'd be willing to bet that you've had to work with many different cultures and the different customers that you serve. So let's say, you're hosting an event to celebrate culture integration, or, coming together in cultures with one of your partner organizations or customer. What would be the theme?
Well, the theme would be simply team. I will put team in uppercase letters and define what it means to me. Team means together, everyone achieves more.
Awesome. Awesome. I could see the, cups or the koozies or the favors coming out of that.
It's awesome working with different cultures, by the way, Julian. It really, really, really ends up with lots of innovation and creativity. Many different cultures have different great ideas. So, when you collaborate, brainstorm, and work as a team, you end up with really very creative ideas.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Rami. I've worked global before, and it's like this wonderful world. Everybody, it's kind of like we're the same, but we're so different. And that really creates, when you find that true collaboration, and you build that psychological safety and you get that trust, it just creates this wonderful experience of everybody being able to share what they've learned and how they've learned it. And the end result, I use the word magical. I don't mean that to be frivolous, but it is. When you really find that sweet spot of collaboration, everybody bringing their different worldly experiences is wonderful. So I've been fortunate to experience that in my career, and I'm very thankful for it. So I can try to help bring that dynamic into whatever situation I'm coming into. So I really appreciate you bringing that up for our audience, so that we can touch on that today.
For sure. And, one important thing also, that dealing with different cultures will help you grow yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've learned so many things, even something as small as global holidays. I know I'm working, I don't work as global anymore, but I have team members that I work with from different, ethnicities. And I know just the other day I was talking with somebody and they commented on how I was aware of Diwali, right, which is a Hindi, an Indian holiday, right? And maybe that person hadn't experienced so many people being aware of that holiday, and it was something special from their childhood. So I felt really good about that very small encounter, because it just was something that we could share and that I knew about it, and this person was just appreciative of it. So I was really glad I could create that moment for somebody that day.
Believe me, it makes a big difference.
Difference.
As a small, I learned throughout my career, if I may add one more thing.
Absolutely.
It doesn't take time to learn one word about the other culture. So, I try always to say hi to people in their own language.
I love that.
It puts a smile on their face,
I know. I always try to learn thank you when I was traveling for work. Like one small little thing, if I could say thank you in their language, like that meant a lot to me to be able to do that for them. So that's really, really great tips. So if you're, for those of you watching, if you've never had to work global or you are working globally, very small things that you can quickly integrate in your day-to-day work that will help build the trust with your teams and build that collaboration within your team. So really good discussion on those. All right.
Yeah, and one more advice, just
Yeah.
to complement what you said to the audience. From my experience, the most difficult thing I faced when I moved from one country to another is not the technical stuff. It's adapting to the culture.
Okay. So keep that in mind too. That's the struggle that some folks might be going through, and however you can help in that way would be good. Appreciate that. Okay, let's move on to our next question. This kind of focuses on one of the purpose points of the PMO leader. It's building a community. So we focus a lot on that within this community. And that really doesn't happen overnight or in isolation. But one of the ways we were interested to hear some feedback on this topic is, what would be your signature song for what it takes to build a community?
I have the perfect song for you.
Okay.
One of my favorite songs that fits this theme is "Together We Can Change the World" for Mark Shepard.
Okay.
It's maybe not a very well-known song, but if you hear it, you will really like it.
Okay.
It's so meaningful.
Okay, that's good. Mark Shepard, you said?
Yes, "Together We Can Change the World."
Together we can change the world. I'll have to look that one up. I don't know that I've heard that one myself, but now I'm excited to look that one up. It's so much easier nowadays to do that with like YouTube and everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm excited. Spotify, whatever. name your music streaming service.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about, I guess I can infer from the title, but I don't know, are there any particular lyrics or that might sum it up for you, like why it speaks to you in terms of building a community?
Because building a community is all about working together. So the song talks about working. Give me your hand. I need your hand to build this. I need your hand to build that.
Okay.
One hand doesn't clap. It's all about putting your hands together to build this community.
That's awesome. All right, I'm definitely going to look that one up.
Perfect.
All right, so we're coming up on our last structured question, I'll say, and this one I will admit is really purely for fun. So we wanted to sprinkle in a little bit of fun in our time. But the last question we have is, if your company were a food, what would it be and why?
Interesting question. Well, I would say it would be steak.
Okay.
Yeah, why? Because steak, you can adapt it when you cook it to many different tastes and needs. You can do it rare, medium rare, well done, medium well. So, you can serve different people with their different needs.
That's awesome. I see, that's a theme here with a Superman and serving different needs, and will be a steak. How do you prefer your steak, Rami? Just for fun.
Medium well.
Okay. I'm a strictly well done person.
Yeah, I'm very close to you.
Okay. Yeah. My husband, not so much, but I'm just like, nope, I can't have any pink in that steak. And that's great because it's diverse, right? You can cook it to different people's needs, just like you said.
Exactly. You can be happy, your husband can be happy too, with the same kind of steak.
Exactly. That's awesome. So let's move on. I wanted to make sure we had some time to field some questions from the audience. So if you're joining us today and you have a question for Rami, go ahead and feel free to type it in the chat and we'll pick those up. But while everybody's kind of dusting off their keyboards and pulling the chat window up, I had a question for you myself, Rami. On your website, you cite important things to live by. So there's a list of a few of these things. And one of them is prepare to avoid repair. And I wasn't quite sure what that meant. So I was wondering if you could explain a little more what you meant by that.
Sure. So, there is a saying that for every problem, there is a solution. Sure, that's awesome. But that's you being reactive. We need to be proactive to prevent the problem from happening at all. Why? Because let me give you just a simple example about our construction projects.
Sure.
If you make sure that your design is solid and adapted to the needs and requirements of the client, you will avoid as many change orders as possible. Now, if a change order happens because a problem happened and you need to repair it, right? The cost of you paying for the change order comes at a premium. So if you did include this from the beginning, you won't pay this premium. But this is the nature of the industry. This is just one example. So we always need to be proactive and not reactive.
Okay, so it's really about being proactive.
100%.
Yeah, that's great. Do you find, we're touching on some of these subjects, and I think it's interesting for our audience to hear, do you find this is something that you have to coach a lot on, or like infrequently, frequently?
It definitely is something that comes up very often, because, people think it's okay to have problems, which is okay, but, don't make it your goal to have a problem and you can solve it. Problem solving is a skill, but the most important skill is not to let the problem happen, to start with.
Yeah. Yeah. In other industries, I know that as kind of like building in quality is the terminology they use. So to translate it to project management, you're building the quality into your plan by understanding what the risks are, understanding what conflicts there might be, and really putting a solid plan in place. Like if you do trigger one of those, to make sure you understand what you're going to do so it doesn't have that negative effect. So I think that's a really good call out. And I like the way you've packaged it in that prepare to avoid repair. I like that it's a little bit musical, I think you said before, right?
So I love awesome.
Rhythm, that's it. Thank you. I lost the word there. Yep. All right, so there's a couple other questions that we have. One of them is, are you able to coach and mentor around all the different credentials that you hold?
Definitely. And maybe I covered this in the beginning because, I don't take a credential unless I have the experience.
Right. Okay, great.
The theory doesn't teach you a lot. So when you have the experience and you take the credential, you will have a solid foundation where you can add value to others. Because not everything, I did my engineering degree. Did I use my books after I graduated? Very rarely. What I used is my foundation in the engineering.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you on that. So I actually happen to have a chemistry degree. Interesting fact.
Nice.
I started out as a bench chemist and then I morphed into being a project management professional, but I totally empathize with you. You learn all this stuff in school. I had all these reference texts and then I never really looked at them again, and that was interesting to me. For any of you watching this who are newer in your roles, I had a professor once that told me college teaches you how to learn. When I was having like a particular moment before I graduated, like, so I think that's great. So we see any of the credentials in your background, just know for the audience or any of you watching this, Rami and RMK Coaching is able to help with any one of those, around any one of those. We have another question here. What would be your first step to helping an organization build a customized professional development plan? How would you go about doing that?
The first thing is to assess the current situation, because by assessing the current situation, you will end the current capabilities, and then putting the future goals of the company in front of you, you will be able to come out with the capability gap. And based on this gap, you put a plan to close this gap. It's easier said than done sometimes, but this should be your first step.
Right. So current state and then map it to the future state, essentially.
Exactly. To come up with the capability gap. That's the most important thing. That's the root cause.
Gotcha. I like how we tied that back. That's great. So there's kind of a open-ended question out there that I'm seeing. What has been your most challenging project and why?
I've worked on so many challenging projects, but one of the most challenging projects I worked on is a faculty as part of the university in Qatar, in Doha, Qatar.
Okay.
This was a very, very difficult project to construct. We had the engineering design. It was in the shape of a hand with two fingers coming up like this.
Okay.
You know, some walls were like so challenging that we needed to build them in parts, lift them, and put them like a Lego.
Oh,
It was
interesting.
so challenging. Like I learned a lot from this project technically and project management wise. There were so many stakeholders involved. Like I think I would never work in a bigger project in terms of this size. We
Wow.
had almost 5,000 people working on this project. 5,000.
That's
A
crazy.
huge
That's a
project.
lot of people. Yeah. Wow. And I bet, you know, to go back to some of our previous discussion, there was a lot of things to prepare for in that project, a lot of risks to consider and contingency plans, I would assume.
It's the preparation for this project. Just the planning phase took 1 year.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, it's not easy for sure. It's not easy, and you know, but we made it happen. And that
Yeah.
was my last project in Doha before I moved to Shanghai.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks for that. So it looks like we don't have, I'm not seeing any more questions. So let me move on and just say thank you. One last question before we adjourn. You know, people are interested in learning more about RMK Coaching or yourself and what services they have to offer. What's the best way for them to do that?
Well, you can either go to my website, rmkcoaching.com, through my contact page, send me a request, and I usually answer in timely manner, or you can just add me on LinkedIn under Rami Kaibni and send me a message, and we'll take it from there. I am always attentive to my social media, so should be good.
Great, great. So LinkedIn or website, either works. Well, Rami, I want to thank you for your time today and providing us with these great insights to RMK Coaching. We really appreciate your time, really appreciate you highlighting this service organization. And just thank you again for being with us.
No, you're welcome. I appreciate the opportunity. It was amazing to be with you and Derek here. And, you know, I hope I can help as many people as I can.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So everyone, that concludes our spotlight on RMK Coaching today. We'll have this out on social media, out on the PMO Leader website. If you know anybody who wasn't able to join us today and would like to pick it up as an on-demand, we'll have that out within the next few days. And be sure to join us next month when my co-host Gabriella will be highlighting another great service organization. There will be information coming out on the PMO Leader and in social media channels soon. So with that, we'll end. And I just want to say take care, stay safe, and everyone have a great day. Bye-bye.